Hello and welcome to PowerPoint 101 training. I'm Gina Biri in Training in Organizational Development for Events and Transportation. This training is intended to show you pretty briefly the features and different functions that are afforded to you in PowerPoint, at least at a basic level. So I'm going to start us off with some learning objectives that we have for this quick training. We should be done in about 5 minutes. The first is that we're going to review the functionality of slides and all that we can do with those. The next is that we'll discuss different views and ways of looking at and interacting with the information in PowerPoint. And lastly, we'll talk about themes. So what I'm going to do is get out of presentation mode so that I can show you slides and some of the cool things that we can do with slides. So if you want to add a new slide, what you do is go to your home tab, and usually that's your default. So what you would do is you would find this new slide button right here and hit the drop down. And that's where you can see a couple different options of different slides that you can add into your presentation. So if you wanted to do a new section, you would just add it and title it. Now I'm going to go ahead and undo that so that we keep the deck intact. Let's see, the next way that you can add a slide is to do a right click and go to the drop down menu and do a new slide, and you can do it this way. Go ahead and undo that. And then the last way that you can do it is through a keyboard shortcut. And then that is denoted for you right here next to the new slide feature. So there's also a couple different ways that you can duplicate a slide. So the quickest and easiest way that I like to go about it is to just hit right click and then duplicate that slide. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. And again, you have a keyboard shortcut for that. Personally, I don't use it, but that's not saying anything. I just duplicate my slides that way. Another way, if you wanted to add an additional click, you could copy and then touch or click rather in between the thumbnail view of the PowerPoint slides and paste. That's another way, a little more cumbersome. All right, and the next thing that I want to show you is how to hide a slide. Hiding a slide can be useful if it's just information that you don't need to share for, like maybe you provide a training frequently and you know that for a particular audience, you don't need to share slide, I don't know, 27. What you can do is just right click and go down to the drop down menu, hide slide. And then what that does is it grays it out and it gives you an indicator here with the circle and a line through it that that slide has been hidden. So what that means is that if you were in presentation mode and you either have a clicker or you're advancing your slides with the use of the arrow on your keyboard, PowerPoint would skip over this slide because it knows that you have hidden it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unhide this slide. And then I can cover this a little bit more in the next section in views, but something that I really like to have is the thumbnail view when I'm working in a PowerPoint deck, because it lets me know exactly where I'm at. Like, for example, this is the third slide in this deck. Now, clearly there's a 3 over here. The creator of this particular slide deck, this template, embedded that into the master slide, kind of like a page number footer in a Microsoft Word document. But if I didn't have that, because plenty of decks don't, I can always know where I am because of this over here on the left-hand side. All right, so next I want to go to different views. So there's always your view tab up at your toolbar. But what I do is see these 3 little dots right here. What I do is hover my mouse over it and click and drag up. And then what that does is gives me the option of taking a look at my notes. Now, oftentimes when you're doing you're putting together a presentation, you want to have notes so that you make sure you remember to share particular points. And so that's where you can put them here. And then these elements here of speaking points, do, and transition are just instructional designers kind of outline the template of how a trainer would put together a facilitator's guide. So I always have that in my decks. So I'm going to move that down. And same goes for these 3 dots over here too. Again, you can minimize or expand your view of your thumbnails here. And then presentation mode. So there's a few different ways to get to presentation mode. You can always click the play button up here or specify, do you want to play, maximize the presentation from the current slide or play it from the start, from the title slide. But typically what I do is I just hit this little button down here. It's the slideshow. It's a little bit more quick and dirty for me. And then I get out of this view by hitting the escape button on my keyboard. So that takes care of notes, presentation, and thumbnails, how to get to those guys, again, with the little 3 dots there. And then lastly, themes. So PowerPoint gives you some templates, and that's found here on this tab called themes. And you can expand this and take a look at some of the different ones that they provide for you. You can also browse new themes online if you get bored of these ones, because maybe you create a lot of PowerPoints. And then you have colors, fonts, and backgrounds if you want to play around with it. Now, I don't like to play around with it. I'm not a graphic designer. So what I do, because I'm typically more focused on the content, is I go to slidescarnival.com and I download for free a template. And actually this template that you see here with the white and the goldenrod color and the charcoal gray, that all came from Slides Carnival. So that is it. Thank you so much for attending this training on PowerPoint 101. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you need anything else, let me know. Bye-bye.